Hello, today basically I've got a review based on your requests. I've got a lot of requests to review something from TFZ, and I've got TFZ number 3. It's one of their most popular models, and unfortunately it's not the titanium version that got so many positive reviews recently, but regular number 3 is also pretty popular. It's not expensive, relatively not expensive. Of course, it costs $110. It's a single dynamic driver model, and I will put links to the shop in the description as usual. So that's pretty much what I can say about them in the introduction part. Only thing to notice is that only now I know what that TFZ means. I had to Google what zither is, but now I know. And, well, I'm not sure how this thing could be fragrant, but anyway. Box is really stylish. It has a bit unusual shape, but really convenient, made of really good cardboard. Traditionally it was wrapped in plastic. Inside here is earphones themselves. Small box with cable and a bit bigger box with tips, so everything is pretty predictable. So two set of tips with wider bores and narrower bores, attractive white storage pouch, but you know it will lose this attractiveness really quickly. It will wear off and get dirty, I think almost instantly. Here is manual dedicated to the different models of the TFZ description. I don't see, or they didn't print technical specifications here. Probably, yeah, they've printed it. But you need to find the proper version. Here is it. So number 3, 11 and 4 mm double magnesium dynamic driver, 20 ohms of impedance, 108 decibels of sensitivity. Well, that's all we need to know. It's normal impedance, normal sensitivity, so pretty basic dynamic driver in-ear monitors. Build quality is really nice, but you know, good build quality is so common in modern Chinese in-ear monitors. I think it's more probable to meet honest politicians than poorly built Chinese in-ear monitors nowadays. So they are made of plastic, transparent, with nice shiny faceplates. They're looking really attractive. Build quality is nice. Of course you can see the joints, but I think it's still okay. Inside you can see the driver itself, so they don't cheat us, they put driver inside. And here are the spouts, really nice metal spouts with proper angle. They are average in length, so sound isolation is also average, but for noisy street or public transport it will be enough. Protective grille is installed, lip for tips holding is present, so everything is pretty nice. Let me put tips back, and of course they've made replaceable cables. They're using common nowadays 2-pin connector. Is it? Yeah, it's for the left earpiece. 2-pin connector with a bit recessed socket, so it's seamlessly fit to the IEMs themselves. As you can see, pretty nice, very tight connector, holding really well, and that's pretty good. Here is ear hooks format, no more memory wire, but it's still doing well its job to hold the tips. Cable is a bit unusual, you know, it's really unusual isolation. It's very soft, very flexible, has almost zero microphonic, it's not easy to tangle, and it's almost not getting hot when it's cold. Actually, a bit of microphonic is present, but thanks to these ear hooks it won't be an issue for you. Really nice and pleasant to touch cable. It goes to the splitter, but after the splitter, two cables go just in parallel down below to this jack. Regular metal jack, straight one, so as you can see everything is built really nicely, and in terms of build quality it's really decent model. And of course about the sound, they require a bit of burn-in, like 8 hours or so. After that sound settles, and as usual of course they require finding proper tips, and after that they are ready to entertain the owner. Basically they are well, in general tuning they are not bass head model, probably because they don't have accented bass. It's more like model for those who don't like treble, because their treble is rolled off after 5 kHz. It's really nice model, tending to the warmer side, and it's you know, it's not universal in terms of sound, but it's really enjoyable, so I will cover it a bit later. Let me put player on the table. It will be my beloved Aston Kern Ultima. So bass is what you can expect from nice, properly tuned dynamic driver. It's pretty deep, it has good weight, good punch. It's not as resolving as balanced armatures, but resolution is pretty nice. It's well enough for vast majority of instruments, so of course don't expect that ultra rich layering that is typical for multi-balanced armatures, but besides that it's pretty good. Instruments have nice body, pretty good impact, and so on. And of course synthesized bass is also pretty nice. It goes really low with rumble, with authority. It's pretty enjoying. As an example, track that I often use for this purpose, it's David Bowie Blackstar, and you know why I use it. In the intro there are a lot of bass lines, really deep hitting notes, and it's sounds really enjoyable with this in-ear monitors. Mids are also dynamic. They are more focused on the macro detalization. They are really impressive in this term. They play good rumble, different explosions. They are great with male vocal, not so great with female, but for me it's still acceptable. Really good instruments with good body, with good weight. They are not focusing on the micro contrast, but resolution is nice. Imaginary stage is about average in width and below average in depth, but you know, it really depends, because for me usually models that are on the warmer side of things, often sounding a bit more intimate and not as spacious. So for me they are on the intimate side, but still not congested, not too thin, not too claustrophobic. And as an example of mids, I found another track, you know, from my teenagers. I'm not sure about the whole world, but at the ex-Soviet Union territory, vast majority of teenagers in 90s and early zero lost their virginity with Enigma playing somewhere in the background. So it's a bit of nostalgia for me, and I could took any their tracks, but Modern Crusaders will be a nice example. As usual for Enigma, nice deep bass line and pretty fun and properly recorded mids, and this character of mids, the full-bodied mids of the TFZ number 3, they really accompany this track. It's sounding really enjoyable too. And treble could be probably separated into two parts, so lower part of treble and upper part of treble. So basically lower part of treble is nice, it has normal resolution, it's not fatiguing, pretty natural, and you know, pretty rich in terms of saturation. And actually part above 6 kHz noticeably rolled off. So it's also good, but it's good somewhere far behind all other instruments and notes. I prefer more forward tuning. I tried to use equalizer, but it's not helping in general, you know. But it's probably, you know, it's how programmers say, it's not a bug, it's a feature. So it's a feature of this in-ear monitors. They are tuned for those who don't like this trebles, for those who don't like sharp and sibilant sound, and they are perfect for cases when you focus on the mids and bass for instrument music. Actually, let me show you an example and then I will proceed to the genres pairing, matching. So this time example is more to show that what we will miss. It's King Crimson, Pictures of a City, track that is filled with cymbals and different percussions, and that cymbals, they are sounding really natural, but they are moved somewhere on the background, so that's what they will miss. But at the same time you also will miss compression artifacts, you will miss the sibilance, you will miss the harshness and so on. So basically if you are treble sensitive, it's, you know, it's one of the most suitable models for you. Or if you listen to some music that is focused on the mids and bass, maybe some electronic music, some pop music, maybe some classical rock is also enjoyable, but it depends on cymbal usage in this genre. Also, they are pretty good with some instrumental music, but it depends. For example, they are enjoyable with organ, with cello, and not so enjoyable with some instruments that have overtones that go high to the treble area. As they don't require some powerful source, they don't require some super black background, they are pretty universal and working good even with your smartphone. And as for comparisons, I won't do them this time, you know, because they are definitely different from all other typical models. So basically almost all other models that I can think about will have a bit more extended treble, but at the same time stronger part of TFZ, not sure how to pronounce them. Stronger part of them is pretty enjoyable bass and mids and focus on this part of sonic spectrum. It's you know, some time ago I reviewed Shozy Zero with similar tuning and they were also pretty enjoyable and tuned in the similar way. But TFZ is modern version of Shozy Zero with a bit more resolution, with a bit more clarity and so on. So here was TFZ number 3, and they convinced me to put closer attention to other TFZ models. I hope to get more of them for review. Thank you for attention.